Bells will be ringing the glad, glad news. Oh, what a Christmas to have the blues.
Merry Christmas.
To you as well. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Soon. People always say Happy New Year. It's not New Year.
It's not?
There's an entire week before the New Year comes.
Well, that's true.
And nerds get real particular about these sorts of things.
Yes, they do.
It's what the French would call something I can't say because I'm a Christian woman. I can't say it. Yeah, it is Christmas time. It's the Christmas season, and I suppose there's some Christmas things that we need to address and talk about, which we'll be doing on this show in a festive way. Fun show.
Yes.
Fun. What a year. What a year it's been. And we're at the end of it, finally. And so it can only get better, right?
Right.
Said that in 2016.
Yep.
Said that. So I guess we'll just keep saying it.
Yes.
We're going to go for more than one syllable responses in the new year.
Yes, we are.
Nope. Definitely would have been a good... or certainly. But instead, yes, we are. 3 words, 1 syllable apiece. We're going to talk about a couple Christmassy things today. We're going to skip the news because the news is taking a break, and so will we. And it's probably all going to be about sexual harassment anyway. And so
probably.
I think that can all wait for our year-end wrap-up show that we'll be doing for the first, the actual first, or actually the 31st, I guess. But anyway, our New Year's show next week. This week, Christmas. And because it's Christmas, 2 things are true. 1, there's a Doctor Who Christmas special.
Yes.
And we'll be talking about that. And 2, you give presents. But this year we decided, let's not worry about that. Let's let the Christmas spirit be our true gift. And so we didn't get each other anything this year.
That's right.
Except, I cheated a little bit, and I got you a review of Netflix's Big Mouth.
Oh. Well, I cheated a little bit too, and I got you a review of The Marvelous Miss Maisel.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you shouldn't. Oh. It's an O. Henry review Christmas.
It is.
We should have O. Henry was a candy bar, right?
Yes. Yes, it was.
What do kids just eat cyber trinkles these days, right? Like what kind of candy do kids eat? Because even when I was a kid, there was a bunch of candy bars that were from like in The Great Gatsby or something. They were like just being kept alive, just for nostalgia's sake or something like that. Like, have you ever seen a full-sized Crackle anywhere?
No.
No. But, McCarthy was probably throwing them out at his Senate hearing. It's like they're not around anymore, except you can find them in the fun-sized bags. And This is the wrong holiday to be talking about this for, but candy all the same. Didn't get enough cookies this year.
No?
I'm not a cookie guy. And so when I say, no cookies, please, I'm American, I don't get any cookies. And then I get a cookie thing going on at Christmas because, screw it, eat some cookies. And then there's no cookies around. And nobody thinks to give me any cookies.
You're cookieless.
It's tough. I got a tough life.
Yeah.
I got a tough life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm cookieless.
Yeah.
But we're not reviewless. So a review of Netflix's Big Mouth and Amazon Prime's The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Some streaming options for you. And then, of course, we'll do Comic Book Club one more time this year for Christmas. Actually, you know what? I think we had talked about it. I think we will do it again next year. There's a very special, it is next year, but for our next show, a very special New Year's comic that I've always wanted to do and we never had the chance to do on the show. And maybe we'll talk about that at the end of the Comic Book Club segment, which this year will be, as it is last year, or as it was last year, we're looking at the Trencher Christmas Bites Holiday Special.
That's right.
Which I actually did a show about last year, but you were under the weather and you weren't able to participate.
That's right.
So we're going to get your thoughts on it this year.
All right.
And I don't know if you listened to that show. I don't know if you listened to the show, but I did a whole thing on Trencher, Keith Giffen, the history of a short history of Image Comics, the extremely short history of Black Ball Comics. But maybe we'll just talk about the issue itself.
Okay.
And get your thoughts on it and how it promotes festivity in the holiday season. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Cal.
Did we talk about Doctor Who? Did I blow that? Oh, we're going to talk about the Doctor Who Christmas special.
You mentioned
Yeah,
that.
I said the first thing. Okay.
Yeah. Looking forward to talking about that and our other Christmassy holiday cheer things that we have to talk about.
Right. Festive. Adjectives.
Yes.
Festooned.
Merry.
Bedecked.
Right.
Right. Decked with holly.
Festivus for the rest of us.
Hollied.
Hollied?
That's like, you got hollied. Holly all over the place. Let's talk
boy.
about some TV.
Who is that? I'm the doctor. You may be a doctor, but I am the doctor.
So the Doctor Who Christmas special, Twice Upon a Time, has aired extremely recently as we're recording this. It has aired as it does every year since the whole thing began, but not really, but since the reboot of Doctor Who, of course, started. It's a Christmas special, and they always tend to be pretty pivotal. Like, sometimes you get like, oh, it's a guy who's going to learn from a shark that swims, and an opera singer is going to teach him the meaning of Christmas, and we're just kind of ripping this from Dickens. Or like, oh, there's a lady and trees are alive, or something. I just feel like they've been like that, like her pilot husband. They've been out of gas for a while, but when they're not really out of gas and telling stupid stories, they tend to be extremely pivotal. Like, we have a thing here in America where something really big happens at the end of a season. We call them seasons here. They call it series over the pond. And so it's like, oh my God, you're the killer?
Right.
Come back next year, see what happens. In Britain, they're like, oh, good. Oh, we figured it all out. Well, on to new adventures. And then it's like, oh, make sure you watch on Christmas because the doctor's going to die and there'll be a new doctor.
Yeah.
They've done that like a couple times now. That's pretty much
have.
when the doctor becomes the new doctor, like over Christmas.
Yep. That's when Matt Smith became the new,
Yeah, that's what David Tennant did.
Yeah.
Because that's got us started. That was the first Christmas special of the modern era with the Sycorax and all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
So that's just what happens now, for good or bad, and that's where we are.
Yep.
And it's a very special sort of Christmas special because, for a few reasons, because we are saying goodbye to Stephen Moffat as the head writer and showrunner. We are welcoming Chris Chibnall as the head writer and showrunner.
Yep.
Of course, it involves a new, the Doctor meeting his first incarnation.
Yes.
The old Doctor, played by
First
David
Doctor.
Bradley, as
Yeah.
he was in An Adventure in Space and Time. And it features the first appearance of the new Doctor,
Yes.
played by Jodie Whittaker, as the female Doctor,
Yes.
the Yorkie Doctor.
The Yorkie Doctor?
Yeah, she's from Yorkshire,
Okay.
which is fun. So, so that's all what's going on. Like I said, it's called Twice Upon a Time. What'd you think?
Parts of it I really liked. Other parts of it I didn't. The glass people were kind of intriguing at first, but ended up being kind of like, okay, like not all that interesting. Like we're memories and we keep people's memories, and
Yeah.
we're not bad guys. We're just,
I guess we're doing spoilers. So,
yeah. Sorry.
well, people won't be able to watch this probably for a while, but yeah, we'll just spoil stuff. That's fine.
And we can take anybody's memories as somebody who died and put them into a person, a walking, talking person.
Right. Which I feel like, Bill, like, how do you get Bill in this one?
Yeah.
That's how. And so you have a situation where it's like she keeps claiming like, look, somebody, all we are is just all of our memories. So I am Bill. And I think in any other
Right.
episode of Doctor Who, it'd be like, you're not Bill. You're just you're not the real Bill. You're a robot Bill. I don't trust you.
Right.
That sort of thing. But because we need Bill to say goodbye to the Doctor as he dies and
Yes.
regenerates, it is Bill. It just is.
Right.
And so in the year 5 billion, there's this, everybody he's ever lost. Well, I guess, I don't know, Rose didn't die technically. She went to another universe or whatever. But like anybody he's ever, he gets to see Clara. Like anybody he's ever lost ever. Where's Adric? Like why is he talking to Adric? Apparently this testimony or whatever can just go wherever and find anybody and make a copy so they're not dead. It's sort of like the good version of the heaven that the master, or I guess the mistress, was making like 2 finales ago.
Okay.
When she was putting everybody into the robot brain thing.
Yeah. When
Clara's boyfriend Danny died, and then they were all.
Yes, I remember that.
So like, and the kid from The Thick of It was there. This is kind of like the good version of that.
Yeah.
Because if we're to take her word for it, her and Nardole and everybody else, they're all alive. That is really them. I mean, it's not their bodies, but it's their minds essentially. And then if you want to cast lots for whether they're souls or not, it doesn't matter. At least to this particular episode. So happy.
It's supposed to be.
It's completely. And these guys they'll never come back. We'll never ever see the glass people ever again. I'm certainly positive of that. That'll never happen. Not just because nobody wants to pick up some dumb, late, really the last Stephen Moffat story, but because it breaks the entire universe of Doctor Who, in my opinion. Where's everybody?
Yeah, everybody can come back.
And they do. Everybody can literally come back because, of course, like I said, we've got David Bradley playing the first Doctor. They even had actors play Polly and Ben, or whatever his name is.
Yeah, but then they disappeared.
Yeah, and then they just disappeared. They're just gone. Yeah, because, how long do you want that to go on? But so he could literally just have everybody. They could have brought back everybody, but what we could have done was we could have brought back a bunch of former people who are on the show, just assuming it's sort of bittersweet. Like, I guess there's no having Elizabeth Sladen on there, but like if Sarah Jane showed up, you go, well, I mean, Sarah Jane lived a good old life and died eventually.
Right.
So it's sad that, she dies, but the Doctor knows everybody dies. It's one of his rules, I'm sure. But he gets to see them all like before he goes. But then we could also have a contrast to the amount of like friends and companions like he's made immortal over the years who would not show up at all or didn't have a moment of death. Like Rose wouldn't be there, Jack wouldn't be there, or there'd be a bunch of Jacks because he's just died like a million times.
Right.
Just when you travel with the Doctor, you either just one day you go, I don't want to do this anymore, and then he just okay, fine, or you become some godlike being and just move on to some new level of consciousness. In which case, I would assume testimony would not have your memories.
Yes. I would assume so as well.
So you can't say goodbye. I didn't like it.
No?
No, not at all. It's really great that they found this David Bradley guy, and I think he does a good job. They used him to good effect in Adventure in Space and Time.
Yeah.
Was he in... this is the first real long story we've had with him, right?
I think so.
I think he appeared... here and there, like when they did other past Doctor stuff. But this is his first real go as the actual first Doctor, and he's good, but it's just wasted. Like it's a nice little thing to go. This is the most recent Doctor. Let's have him meet up with the old Doctor and kind of realize why he's got to go on. I feel like Moffat's been building to this. In his own way, because he's had this story where, I didn't like the last episode of the last series really either, but he has at this point that he hits sometimes where it's like, why do I keep doing this? Like, why don't I just quit?
Yeah.
And so he's kind of ready to do that, and then he meeting his first, like on paper, all makes sense, all good.
Right.
But there's just I don't think that it doesn't have any of the pop or sizzle of 9 meeting 10 in The Day of the Doctor.
Yeah.
And you'd think it's the first Doctor. And all they do is just make misogynistic and borderline racist jokes about Bill. And it's like...
Which is just...
Get it out now, Moffat. Get it out. Because you're not going to have this stage to do that anymore. And it's almost like... If like every other finale up to this point, where the showrunner and writer has changed over, Chris Chibnall wrote the last 30 seconds or whatever of this one.
Sure.
So Moffat never got to write a line for for Jodie Whittaker. But if he got a chance to, I'm sure he would have made a joke about how a woman driving crashed the TARDIS. It's just like, can we just throw this guy off the cliff at the edge of the world at this point? We're done, right? Just get him in the Coke bottle, tie him together, and just toss him. Like, that's it.
Yeah. No
So-
more cheap shots.
Yeah. Yep. All done. No more Mark Gaddis.
Yeah.
Thank God.
We had to squeeze him in, though.
You certain for absolutely no reason. I felt like you're not going to fool anybody. The second we see a guy with a little mustache, you go, well, let's see, he's too old to be the brigadier, but so he's the brigadier's dad, I guess. Done. Why not just
Okay.
Yeah, and then it's like, well, why not just have it be the brigadier? Although I'm sure they've done that before. But we'll just set it World War One, and then I'm like, World War One, Christmas. All right, Christmas armistice. So when are we going to just reveal that that's what it is? Oh, here we
Yeah.
go. Okay, that's what it is. The guy doesn't actually die, so why does he get taken by testament
Yeah, I don't know.
or testimony or whatever? Testament's a Christian rock band, isn't it?
Should be if it isn't.
He doesn't die, and also like if your whole thing is to collect memories so people can have testimonies of these amazing times in people's lives, why not take him after
Yeah, no
the
kidding.
Christmas? What a good story to tell. The Christmas armistice.
Yeah.
You get that story.
Yeah.
And the real story is, and this is the sad part about the Christmas armistice, like it's a very heartwarming story, but of course, Boxing Day, those guys all picked up their guns again and they all killed each other, like to a man. So that's when we
That's
get his
sad.
story. Like he would die then, and the
Yeah.
glass people would take him away. He'd tell this amazing story of singing Stille Nacht with German guys,
Yeah.
and then we'd leave out the part where he got bayoneted to death the next day.
Oh, boy.
Sorry to shit on everybody's parade there, but that's what happened. So, yeah, goodbye. Let's say goodbye to Stephen Moffat.
It got me a little bit. Like, Silent Night is one of my favorite Christmas songs ever. And singing it in German and then singing it in English, it got to me.
Yeah. I wish it had gotten to me.
And it was a really nice moment, I thought. But
Yeah.
it's a great story.
It was calculated to be. I wish it would have
Yes.
been great if they could have manufactured is usually a derogatory way to describe it, but if they, it's art. You're creating art. So I wish that they could have manufactured a moment like that on their own, without having to pull. Because when you go Christmas, what's the most emotional piece to all good men and goodwill or whatever we can think
Right.
of? World War One, the British, the armistice, Christmas armistice thing.
Right.
So I don't know. It just feels kind of a little bit like writing backwards, but
They've
they've never used it on the show before. So
Yeah.
believe it or not, I think Doctor Who could actually run out of history at some point to tell stories about. I mean, you can never run out of history, but I'm just saying like significant things, that show strong emotions or like what it's like to be a human. Someday they'll run out of stuff.
Yeah.
When they did that Big B one with Agatha Christie, they had never done Agatha Christie before.
That's true.
And you're like, whoa, wow, really? Or like when they did the Queen Elizabeth thing, both times, the Shakespeare Code and then the Day of the Doctor, they had never done Elizabeth I before.
That's true.
It's like, how in 50-something years has the Doctor never
Done
run
Elizabeth
into
the First.
Elizabeth I?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was fine. It doesn't, to me, evoke just the simple thing of like, we beat the Daleks, but not quite, Rose, because I'm going to die and I'm going to be somebody else and it's going to be really scary and I don't want you to be scared. And she's like, no, I don't want you to go. Like that to me is like way more than like, Christmas. Oh, it's Christmas. It's World War One. Come on.
I know.
Screw you, Moffat. Screw you. Never have to deal with you ever again. What's he going to ruin next?
I don't know.
He's already ruined Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Sherlock
Holmes. What is he going to... what's another British institution that he can just take it down? He'll do a Dracula thing. What about that?
There you go.
I think we're good on vampires for now. So anyway, yeah. Here's my prescription for this doctor going forward.
Yeah.
You can clap. It's okay. Don't really clap. They're not going to, especially with Chris Chibnall. Broadchurch, like the whole serialized storytelling. Deserialize it. You literally went back to the very beginning. You told a story that is the most caught up in Doctor Who continuity that any story could ever be, other than the Day of the Doctor. Like this show is so far up its own ass, and it's bigger on the inside. Stop it. Get the hell. Stop it. We talked before about how, what if it was just for kids again? What if you just dumbed it way down and just made it fun and for kids again? Let's do that. We got a new attitude. We got a new set of boobs. Let's just jettison the whole thing, I say. Let's just ignore it. It happened. We've celebrated the F out of it over the last 5 years. Let's just push forward. Let's do it. No more Trenzalore. No more I'm the oncoming storm. All that garbage. Let's just start 100% brand new. And she's
Fresh.
just having... Yeah, and we're going to new historical places, and it's a new day.
Yeah.
And with her stupid butterfly in the sky like outfit, and the sun rising over the moors or whatever. Yeah. I feel like there's a hint to that's where they're going. And I hope that that's true, because I'll stick around. But if we just dive right back in, I'm going to tell everybody I watch it, but I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah.
Because I have to support it, because I've wanted this for so long. But I'm not going to keep watching it if I don't want to. It's bad.
Yeah.
What about you?
I feel like I'll watch it no matter what, because I want it to succeed.
Yeah, but you could just tell people you're watching it and it has the same effect.
I don't know. I'd feel guilty about not actually watching it.
You'll get over it. You'll get over it. So anyway, also I feel like we've done this a couple times.
We've done what a couple of times?
Who generates the TARDIS blows up or is damaged, and we got to fix the
That's
TARDIS,
true.
and then we fixed it. And at the end of our first episode, we tighten our bow tie, or we put our new outfit on, or we pull our slacks up. In this case,
Yes.
we snap our bra on or whatever, and we're ready to go.
Yep.
I mean, it's tried and true. It's a good way, I guess, to set it up, but. Could we do something else? What if we did something else? Well, here's my pitch. What if we've already established that it just doesn't, I don't even know how old he is anymore, 2,000 years or something? He's like really old.
Something like that.
And the passage of time doesn't really affect him or her in this case. So she falls out of the TARDIS, loses the TARDIS, disappears. And we tell a story about how she's confused, she's regenerating still. She's not sure who she is.
Right.
She's on Earth in what looks to be a fairly modern time. It'll almost definitely be 2018, because that's just what they do these days. And so she's got to work that out. But she, instead of us watching her like run around and fight eyeballs or aliens or something, and then she, like I said, gets her slacks or something, and now she's the doctor at Mrs. Doctor if you're nasty. What if she takes a long time, like she ends up living for 100 or 200 years like on Earth, and kind of gets her own thing sort of set up, and then we see her, she comes back and gives herself some help or something like that, and so we see the doctor already established. It isn't like, I've got to find my new way in this world with my high-heeled shoes and all that sort of thing. I don't know what that was. Anyway, but and then we just kind of like, she shows up and helps her old self out, and then we follow like the new / old doctor who's already got it figured out.
Yeah.
And then over the course of the season, we can flash back to or have her run into people who have already, like, she's got an established history. It isn't just, oh, you're a woman now. Everybody knows who the doctor is. It's fine. We're done. She's done. She's already helped people. She's already gotten the TARDIS back and helped people and stuff like that. And then, the following episodes can be kind of starting in medias res, where it's like, well, the time that you helped us with the one thing, now the other thing's broken, and, there's a history there already.
Yes.
I know I said get rid of the continuity, but I don't want this to be... everything's so new, and the whole tampon skit that we did, 6 months ago when this was
Yes.
announced. Like, I just start it up again. She's the doctor. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it'd be nice if it was a female showrunner, but find a couple opportunities to tell women-specific, tales, but you don't have to beat it to death too much, because the doctor has always been, just a humanist engine before he's ever been a man or a woman. He's just been, he's already got that going for them, I guess we should just say now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's not hit it too hard.
I agree.
Thank you. What if you said, indubitably, I concur? That would be a lot of syllables.
That would be a lot of syllables.
So, hope you get the chance to check it out. The Doctor Who Christmas special, Twice Upon a Time.
Islands in the stream, that is what we are. No one in between. How can we be wrong? Sail away with me to another world, and we rely on each other.
Well, as an unexpected gift to ourselves and to you, we present some reviews of some new streaming TV this year.
Yes.
This year. And one of those TVs is on Amazon Prime, and one of those TV shows is on Netflix.
That's right.
You want to start?
Sure.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. It's about a housewife in the 50s who decides to do stand-up.
Like in the 50s.
Yes.
Okay. Like in Lenny Brucey timey days?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And her husband, at first, he's the one who does the comedy and everything.
Okay.
But then he ends up, I guess we'll do some spoilers.
Well, I mean, anything in the first episode's not a spoiler.
Yeah, okay. So this is in the first episode. He ends up leaving her. And we find out that he's been having an affair with his secretary.
What does he do?
It's unclear
Because I
to me
didn't,
what he does.
I didn't really, you watched this.
Yes.
I saw parts of it, and it's clear that one problem that Mrs. Maisel does not have is financial problems. They are on the Upper West Side.
Yes.
In the early and mid-50s, and they're doing just fine.
Yes.
And so I was curious, like, this is a passion project for him. Like, he wants to make it as a comedian, but he clearly does something else, or he's just independently wealthy.
He does do something else.
Okay.
But it's unclear to me exactly what it is.
They
try to explain it.
Mad Men, 50s.
Yes.
White guy, money.
He's a vice president somewhere.
Okay, well, good world building so far, Amy, but continue.
Yeah, and his uncle got him the job.
Okay.
So his uncle works there too.
Sure.
His dad works in the garment district and is like a manager of like a factory down there.
So they're Norwegian, is what you're saying?
No, they're Jewish.
Oh, they're Jewish. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. Okay. You got to paint the entire picture here.
Okay.
Even though
All
we all
right.
know exactly. I think I can see this picture in my mind.
Yes.
Okay.
And she actually goes down to the comedy club and does an impromptu act without really meaning to in like her nightgown and everything.
Does she have aspirations to do comedy?
She was helping her husband, like giving him tips and stuff like
Okay.
that. So she not consciously.
Not like saying, well, no, I'm going to do comedy. She's just like, I'm mad and I'm going to got to yell at somebody.
Yes.
Okay. Well, which is,
Exactly.
That's kind of what Lenny Bruce, I mean, this is right. This is like a fictitious character, right? There is no
Yes.
like real life. Okay. But that's sort of like, of the time, that was what Lenny Bruce and people were bringing to, the guys like Don Rickles were bringing to comedy at the time, which
Yes.
is it was going from like, Take My Wife, Please, to this sort of confessional, sort of confrontational type stuff.
Right.
Okay.
Your mileage may vary. It's very, it's very twee.
Oh boy. And it's by Amy Sherman Palladino, the
Yes.
lady that does the
Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
So if you like the Gilmore Girls, you might like this.
Uh-huh.
The stand-up comedy bits are not necessarily all that funny to me. It's a lot of like, wow, this is weird because she's a woman and she's doing stand-up and it's the 50s, you know?
Right.
And she's using a lot of swear words and stuff like that.
Does she get in trouble?
She ends up getting arrested because she swears and she flashes the audience.
Oh, all right. I gotta check this show out.
And she's like in her nightgown and everything. And so she ends up getting arrested.
Okay.
And she gets bailed out by this lady who works at the comedy club and who wants to help her
Okay.
become like a comedian.
Sure.
And everything.
It's
So-
funny to me. I know a little bit about this time in comedy, but not a lot. And there has to be, like, why not do a show about Phyllis Diller or something like? There has to be a figure like this.
There has to be.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for me, it seems like the narrative here, if I'm getting this right, I haven't seen it, is that she's a Jewish housewife in the 50s. She's, wants the housewife life. She's
Yes.
happy to, make, holla for her husband or whatever.
Yes.
And then, of course, the rug gets pulled out, and then she's got to tell somebody about it, and she sort of stumbles into, like, this success in comedy.
Yes.
And it's like, there has to be, like, a real life figure like that, doesn't there?
One would think.
It seems weird to me that the narrative has to be... It's not like she was like, I'm writing all these things down. I'm going to really make it. I have these ideas. Only men do comedy, but I got some ideas. I want to get it up there. Instead, she's just like, let me tell you something. Oh, you think I'm funny? Oh, I guess I'm a comedian now.
Well, it's interesting to me, too, that it's
Like, it has to
called-
start off with her, a betrayal by a man. And it's just,
Yes.
I just feel like you could have made a stronger choice.
Well, and it's interesting to me that it's called The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Well,
when
yeah, because she's going to be defined by the fact that
divorced
she's,
and won't be Mrs. Maisel.
No, I get it.
anymore.
It just seems like I never watched the Gilmore Girls, and I don't really know anything else that Sherman Palladino has done, but it just seems very conventional to me. And Chuck Lorre did not get super rich and super famous by really pushing the envelope of sitcoms. You know what I mean?
Right.
They all tell dumb jokes in an apartment, but they're nerds this time. Like, nice, yes, Chuck. Another $1 billion. Here you go. But I just thought, like, she's off a network. She did the Gilmore Girls. She's going to try this thing about Jews in the 50s. Really push it forward.
Yeah.
And this is just like we were talking about this a little bit before we started recording, and I guessed the entire pilot. Like, I went through the entire pilot beat by beat.
Yeah.
Because that's how a sitcom that takes place at this time that is about this has to go.
Yes.
And so, I mean, I don't know where it goes after this, but do you see the show? Where do you see the show going?
I see the show like her breaking new walls and that sort of thing in comedy and
Except the jokes aren't funny.
no, they're not.
They never
really
are.
That funny.
They never are. The jokes, whenever they do like movie Punchline, like whenever they do like a movie or TV show about
Stand
comedy,
up.
the jokes are never funny. And my thing is like all right,
The Big Sick.
So that features actual comedians. So
I know.
you just got all the comedians in that movie.
I know.
It's okay to get Bo Burnham though. And then Kumail's parts were not supposed to be funny. That was the point, is that his act was not connecting with people.
I know. And
But my thing
me,
is
it's
like, yeah, but I paid
could
$12
actually
to
be
see your
funny.
movie. Couldn't you make it funny that it's not funny?
Yes.
Instead of like, we're from Pakistan. This is the Pakistani national anthem. It's like, yeah. I don't know if you're trying to be like funny at how not funny it was, but it was really just not funny. But if you're Amy Sherman Palladino, you're good at making, here's what I'm guessing Gilmore Girls is about, women drinking coffee and being clever.
right.
You're good at doing that, but then you've got a lot of scenes where characters are doing stand-up. Get a couple stand-ups to help you write some jokes.
Yeah, no
No?
kidding.
To me, this just seems like I want to make a show about Lenny Bruce, but I'm a female creator, so let's make it about a girl instead. Which is fine.
Yeah.
But to me, this is your review. To me, the whole, oh, my husband's cheating on me. Can you believe it? All I wanted to do was just be a housewife, and now I have to do this in the 50s. Going to be tough.
Yeah.
What can you do? You know?
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's got 2 kids too, so
Okay.
she's got that to worry about as well. Her father is played by Tony Shalhoub. I just want to mention.
He's completely immune from all racial white, brown, green, orange, purple washing claims.
I think so.
At this point in his career, he has literally played every single ethnicity.
Yeah.
But he's played every single other thing and nobody cares. So now he's playing a Jew.
Yep.
That's fine. Who's the Ms. Maisel?
Ms. Maisel is played by Rachel Braun. Wow, I'm not getting her last name right.
I wish I hadn't asked.
Bronshahan.
Okay. Nailed it. So this is on Amazon Prime
Yes.
streaming,
Yes.
and it's available now. How many episodes?
8.
And you'd say check it out, don't check it out?
I'd say check it out.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to give you a real review.
Okay.
This is going to be hardball.
All right.
And when it's not good, I'm not going to go, check it out. I'm going to say don't check it out.
Okay.
Except it's good and you should totally check it out. This show's called Big Mouth. It's from Netflix and it stars Nick Kroll as every character that Nick Kroll has done. So speaking of comedians and comedy, I always get frustrated by the fact that, and here's why I wouldn't be a good comedian, is that when you come up with something good, the point is to do it over and over again. If I ever say something funny, and you come up to me tomorrow and you go, the thing was really funny, I'll have no idea what you're talking about because I didn't write it down. I didn't know if it was funny. I just kept moving and I just kept doing stuff. But if you're like a comedian, you have an act.
Yes.
Like Mrs. Maisel's going to have to go out there and show her tits every night now. Like this is her bit. This is her thing. And so whenever I see Dana Gould perform and he does something that he did before, part of me is like, well, I've heard that. But the point is like, his act. Like that's the whole point. He's not making it up every time.
Right.
And so you can't get mad at comedians for doing that. It's just a hang up that I have. And that hang up is on display here. Nick Kroll stars in this show. He's also one of the creators and I'm sure one of the writers. And every one of his characters that you know is in this.
Okay.
So like, like Coach Guy, like, you guys lock down plans. Like, what are we doing later? Like,
yes.
He's in this. Oh my God, the Liz character's in this.
Yeah.
Like all of his characters are in this. The Ricky Ronnie or whatever, the Jesus born again rocker, who's got the restaurant and he's got
yes.
OCD with the hand sanitizer. Like,
yes.
I love Jesus Christ. Like he's in this, not as those characters, but he's just using these, his things. His old Jew character's in this too. I should say his old Jewish character, but I think you'd probably describe it as his old Jew character as well. And joining him, speaking of old Jews who aren't Jewish, joining him is John Mulaney.
Okay,
as well. And they're both in this, and they play Nick and Andrew, who are 10-year-olds, whatever it is when you start to go through changes.
Okay.
Which is the theme song of the show by Charles Bradley. And it's about what it is it's a coming-of-age comedy. It's like an R-rated or like hard R-rated Freaks and Geeks.
Okay.
So they are kids in an animated world that grow up in a high school or junior high. But it's all about their crotches. You know what I mean? It's all about their changes. But it's all... they play them as... like 35-year-old kids, basically.
Okay.
So they're very erudite. They make references that, they couldn't possibly know. But it's them dealing with their stuff. So, like, John is John's character, Andrew, is a little more older or maybe a little more mature than Nick. And so he is followed around by this creature called the Hormone Monster, which is also played by Nick Kroll, who tells him to do like horrible things. You know, like the opening scene is the teacher's talking about fallopian tubes or whatever in health class, and so right away the hormone monster's like, "Oh yeah, you know what's going on right now. You know, you got to go to the bathroom and jerk off. You got to do it."
Oh my gosh.
And so it's like him sort of wrestling like morally with with the hormone monster. Jessie Klein, who is a actress and comedy writer, plays Jessie Glazer, and she is like the female version of that. So it takes it from both sides.
Okay.
It initially nominally Nick and Andrew are the protagonists, but Jessie's also a protagonist as well, and she has the same problems. Like later on, what's it called? Her own hormone monster comes and visits her, and it's played by Maya Rudolph.
Okay.
So she's like, she's totally normal, like this kind of like middle-aged Jewish comedian sort of voice, and then she gets her first period when they're at the Statue of Liberty. And Andrew has to help her out by giving her like a 9/11 towel because she wore white shorts that day.
Oh no!
Right? Yeah. So it's the kind of thing that you'd see like in a very special episode of like a sitcom. Only let loose, your current crop of like Apatow-y sort of comedians on it.
Okay.
And so once this happens, and her hormone monster takes over, the hormone monstress, suddenly it's like, scream at your mom, threaten to kill yourself. And she's like, what? Why would I do that? And it's like, honey, you okay? Get out of here. I want to die.
Oh my God.
And it's like later on they go shopping for a bra. She's like, ooh, you want this bra. It's a red bra. It's so sexy. So she buys like this bra and she wears it like to school. And it's like, oh, it's a whole new you, baby. Yeah. But she walks down the hallway and then we get everybody's reaction to her. And some people are like, ooh. And then she's like, why is she wearing that? And by the time she gets down the hallway, like she's in tears, and she runs into the bathroom because she's wasn't ready for the attention. Like it has all these like really mature kind of storylines and implications to the things that are happening to them, but also Jason Mantzoukas' character is like having sex with his pillow and the pillow talks to him. He plays a character called Jay, who's basically just Raffi.
Okay.
As a kid, yeah, from the League.
Sure.
So yeah, other talent is Jordan Peele plays the ghost of Duke Ellington.
Okay.
I'll get to it, which I love because for me it's a triumph for social justice because we have to label everything and identity and racial politics in that it's a show about upper middle class Jewish kids in Westchester growing up, just like that's literally Nick Kroll's life, right?
Yeah.
He's going autobiographical, but you go, well, how do we don't want it to be just a bunch of white and off-white and peach crayons in this box. Like, how do we move it forward? You can't, and the students in the school are, different races, but they geniusly had a thing where, and it's a great commentary too on just white people. Nick's dad is like a cool dad, he's like, he's probably my age, but he's a hippie, but he's like a new hippie, right?
Okay.
So he loves jazz.
Okay.
And they live in what used to be Duke Ellington's house.
Okay.
So Duke Ellington haunts the attic.
Okay.
And then he gets to come down and go like, "Scooby-Doo-Bop-Bop-Bo," and like kind of make commentaries on like his stupid like white sort of honky lifestyle. And then the upside is you get Jordan Peele.
There you go.
To be on your show, and he's hilarious. Jenny Slate is on the show as Missy. Missy is a nerdy girl who is my niece Denise, like she's doing her character from Kroll Show.
Okay.
So just, if you're a comedy fan, you can watch it just to see the evolution of all these sort of characters.
Sure.
Or you can be dismayed that apparently their bag of tricks isn't as deep as I thought it was, if you're me, and you're an idiot. But otherwise, yeah, and there's plenty of other celebrity talent on the show. Fred Armisen's on the show, Kristen Bell, Rob Hubel, Seth Morris. Richard Kind is on the show because Richard Kind is still going. I love that guy. Talking about having like things you do over and over again. He's just had one thing, just be Richard Kind for his entire life. So that's kind of fun. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it. It is not for the faint of heart. It is incredibly dirty.
Okay.
Yeah, it isn't just like a tee-hee. Oh, look what I said. One of the writers used to write for Family Guy. But let me finish. It's not that bad. But they get away with stuff that Family Guy only wishes that it could get away from. And then it's also very meta as well, if you're into that.
Sure.
A character starts doing a thing where like Jay says horrible things, and there's this joke where Jay's the kid who, you know, you go like, what could be wrong with that kid? And at one point they go to his house for a sleepover, and it's everything that it's, you know, he has a dog named Pitbull, or it's not named Pitbull, it is a Pitbull named featuring Ludacris.
Oh my gosh.
Pitbull featuring Ludacris, which is, you know, maybe that isn't, not everybody's going to get that. And there's like trash piled up in his house, and his dad is a divorce lawyer. So Jay always says horrible things, but then the joke is that he's like, don't, you know, just because, you know, she missed her period doesn't mean that you owe her something. And it's like, Jay, quit quoting your dad's commercials, like, is the big joke. And he says horrible things, and they go, I don't think that that's true about black people. And he says, hey, I said it, now you're imagining it. And then somebody says that in like a later episode, and they're like, "What is?" Like Duke Ellington says it, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Oh, I'm just referencing an earlier episode." And then later on, like in the credits, the Hormone Monster like busts through the Netflix credits. Like, do you want to watch this next? And he's like, "Are you guys you're binging this, aren't you? Are you binging it? Is it good? Do you like it? Wait till you get to episode 6." So they're very aware of their format, and I think that that's kind of cool as well.
Very cool.
So if I don't know how many posts we are past modern at this point, but it is definitely the appropriate amount of posts past modern. So I would say if you're ready for a R-rated sort of freaks and geeks and look at that kind of world, just check it out. There's 10 episodes on Netflix. They're half an hour, and they're pretty funny. It's Big Mouth on Netflix.
I'm going through changes.
All right, Christmas time is here, and you know what that means.
Trencher.
Well, I was going to say time to go down to Babes and Baked Beans
Oh, yes.
for whatever they've got going on down there. Yeah, it's the Trencher Christmas special. I want to hear, in your own words, a description of what Trencher is all about. What's Trencher?
Trencher is, he's this amalgamation, and basically
He's an amalgamation?
He's kind of a zombie guy.
So how is that an amalgamation?
I don't know.
Do you know what an amalgamation means?
I thought I did.
What did you? I want to know what you thought it meant.
I thought it meant zombie.
No.
No.
It's a result. It's a union. Did you mean like an automation or an automaton or something like that?
Maybe.
Yeah, like an amalgamation is like a synthesis. It's like it's either the act of or the result of putting something together.
Okay.
How did you get amalgamation?
I don't know. You mean he's
like
kind
a
of
revenant
put together?
I'm trying to think of all the words for zombie. Yeah, well, he's definitely put together. Oh, you're like a Frankenstein's monster.
Kind of.
It, I suppose would be an amalgamation of dead body parts.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hey, you're all right. I'm on your tour here.
Okay.
You're driving the bus.
All right. Then he is assigned to basically kill people that are they're, I don't know what they call it. I don't remember what they call it, but they're up for reassignment or what have you. Like they
like gender reassignment?
No, they're up to be destroyed, basically. They're going to be obsolete.
You want help?
Yes.
He's a soul repo man.
Okay.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. He's been tasked by people in the afterlife. But the nature of the afterlife, we don't really know. We just know that he has been sent to kill people who have been reincarnated without authorization.
Okay.
Why are you saying okay? You're saying okay like you didn't read the comics.
No, I read the comics.
So, but why isn't this what you're saying?
Because it was confusing.
Okay. All right. My mistake. back of the bus. I'll take the wheel. Yeah. Trencher, a.k.a. Gideon, which is an angel's name.
True.
Don't you think?
Yeah, Gideon's Bible.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. I'm thinking of Gabriel. It's Gideon, though, right?
Yeah.
This is a disaster. This is a disaster. I literally own this comic and have for many, many years. And you got me thinking about amalgamations and all kinds of stuff now. So I don't know where I'm going anymore. But yeah, he is a big purple guy that is a zombie, essentially, right?
Yes.
And he comes from the other side. And the idea is that he has an operator, a guy in the chair, a girl in the chair, in this case, named Phoebe. And she helps him, tells him where to go. And he is tasked with killing people who have souls that have escaped.
Yes.
So there's only 4 issues of this from Image Comics, and it was canceled. Then the character specifically was bought by a comic company called Blackball Comics, which was, Giffen was involved with. We'll talk about Blackball in a little bit. And so he was allowed to sort of reboot the character on its own. We never find out any background because it's only 5 issues total.
Yeah.
But it's basically there's some kind of corporation or some kind of organization in the afterlife that assigns who will go up and down and then also who's reincarnated. And because of mistakes in the industrialized process of this, souls get away. And depending on when and how they get away, they become people. And so his job is to retire them. It's like Blade Runner, only with real live people instead of robots. If you shot a robot, you would not be doing your job as a Blade Runner. You should be murdering somebody. And these people could be good people. They could be bad people. It doesn't matter. It's impersonal, man. It's a job. The only problem is, gee whiz, this is the Image universe, which is lousy with superheroes, just ceiling to floor superheroes and supervillains. And so many of the people that he goes after are bad guys. So it's not just walking into Mr. Anderson's office building and just putting a cap in his ass. He's got to go up against people like the Hurler.
Yes.
Show you what you get, you mess with the Hurler. A man who has the ability to projectile vomit acid.
Which is disgusting.
Or Chernobyl, Hitler's old girlfriend.
Yes.
Who may be in it with have a colostomy bag, but it's a weaponized colostomy bag. That's what we're dealing with here. That's what we're dealing with here. So anyway, yeah, so he gets in all kinds of trouble. He has extremely bad luck, which doesn't help in the collection of his duties, his souls. And he's always running into trouble. In the 4 issues of his comic, he runs into Supreme at one point. Supreme is kind of the Superman of the Image universe, only he's kind of an amoral Superman. He's literal Superman. He's like a Nietzschean Superman as well. So he doesn't really care about killing you. I forgot to mention, Jim Valentino had a comic book called Shadowhawk, and Trencher does appear in 2 issues, I think, of Shadowhawk. And Shadowhawk is kind of like poor Batman.
Okay.
Like if Batman was poor but had cool tech still. And anyway, so he fights Shadowhawk. Doesn't matter. So yeah, we don't get a lot out of this character. It's from Keith Giffen, who we've talked about previously this year for JLI. He's a very kind of unique creator. He likes comedy. He likes subverting things and tropes and stuff like that. I think that the thing that immediately stands out about this to me is the art style.
Absolutely.
Without question. It is an art style called Ligne Claire, which is a French style that was made popular by French comics like Tintin. Hergé used it in Tintin.
Okay.
And it's visually distinct, but if you kind of break it down, you can start to see that, these are the reasons that it is different than regular art. That's called French for clear line. And basically it uses lines that are all the same width, which is usually a thick width. It uses very little shading or hatching, if any at all.
Okay.
And it basically relies on color to provide texture and shading and differentiation.
Yes.
And so it gives it a very sort of cartoony sort of the people that came up with this were not trying to do pop art. This would have been before pop art, but it is a pop arty kind of style.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. And and you don't have to, like Hergé didn't do this, but Giffen adds insane amounts of detail.
Yeah.
I actually honestly think that the character himself is, and you must have got this, absolutely a send up of the trends in 90s comics. He's got 2 giant guns. He wears a trench coat and sunglasses, and he smokes. And so Giffen's doing a thing there. And he's also doing a thing in that I think that he, in his own way, in this Ligne Claire style, is making fun of the crazy detail and hatching and that was going on with like the Jim Lees of the time. And Jeff Darrow had just done Hard Boiled. And this is kind of like a goofy Hard Boiled.
Sure. In
my opinion. Hard Boiled. Got to do that one day for the show.
Okay.
So anyway, that's what's going on there. That's all the subtext that you don't really need to enjoy Trencher. Also to remind you that the last 2 issues of the 4-issue run dealt with a plot line in which he has to go kill 4 different Elvises. Right. The king has died.
The king has died. Successful.
And the soul was fractured in transit and is now 4 different versions of this popular person. There's a half robot one. There's a full like armored suit one. There's one of sunglasses. It's Superman. It's the death and return of Superman.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
That's what he's making fun of.
Yes.
Keith Giffen.
Well, isn't one a kid too?
Yes, one is a kid, just like Superboy.
And
when Superman returned,
and
he won't kill him
like,
because he doesn't do women or kids.
Kill kids.
That's right.
So he doesn't kill him.
Yeah.
He doesn't kill the other guy either, who helps him.
Well, that guy
drive
wasn't.
Him to.
But why should he? That guy wasn't, reincarnated or anything like that.
No.
What wasn't he? He was just a guy that was helping out. He was like a midget Elvis impersonator or whatever.
Oh, I thought he was an Elvis that he had to.
No, there's Elvis impersonators, and then there are Elvis impersonators who are actually possess the soul of Elvis.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, the Christmas special. What happens in the Christmas Bites Trencher holiday special?
Well, there is somebody stealing farts.
That's what a spit guard is for. Yeah, there is. Somebody is stealing farts. It's a fart vampire.
Yes.
Dr. Tushman.
Yes.
Who has an unfortunate origin story.
And just like sucks out the butt cheeks and like the glandule, the things that make farts.
Yes. Yes. Basically, I think, now that he had no editor, I don't know who the editor was, maybe Valentino at Image, but now he's got no editor. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Trencher's going to fight a fart vampire. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so, they set up, and then it's also still kind of maintaining the goal of like lampooning comics in that we have, in the middle of this issue, we cut back to this epic origin story for this character. By my buttocks betrayed, in the Kirby style. And so there's this Captain Freedom or something like that, is like this superhero. And Dr. Tushman is like the world's most talented proctologist, and he services the proctological needs of superheroes, right?
Yes.
So Captain Freedom or whatever has been shot in the butt by like a rocket, and so Dr. Tushman has to help him. But as he forgets, the untended sphincter is a prelude to disaster, and he is farted upon by Captain Freedom. So, like, I feel like radiation or gas is like a part of a lot of heroes' origin stories.
Yes.
Well, this guy's like a radioactive fart, basically makes him what he is.
Yes.
And it gives him this thirst for flatulence.
Yes.
He has to go off into the night
and steal farts.
Yes, and he does it he's got like a machine that like sucks it at like 2 giant metal fangs.
Yes.
So he sucks it out of their butt. But then, like, to hide his crimes, he puts like a rubber novelty butt on the corpses, so you can't see that there's. But he's like, but I was running out of novelty butts. So yeah. Anyway, he stalks he stalks the streets of, I think it's Milwaukee specifically, isn't it? They're in Milwaukee.
That sounds right.
Yeah. And Gideon has just ventilated a mall Santa
Yes.
because the guy had to go. He had to be repossessed.
Apparently.
Traumatized hundreds of kids in the process. And he decides to knock off by going to Baked Beans and Babes or whatever.
Yes.
Which is like this universe's version of Hooters.
Yes.
And of course he's at Baked Beans and Babes. So he's going to be a prime target for Dr. Tushman.
Yes.
This is all real. This is a real thing. And they tussle, they fight it out.
Yeah.
And end up in like a toy factory or something.
Yes.
And so, it's pretty easy. I mean, Gideon is, part of his thing is that he is an amalgamation. And so he's alive, but not really. Like he is a Frankenstein monster. Like he's made of living tissue, but because he is not technically alive, that living tissue can be modified in certain ways. So like Phoebe has control over his organs. She can like increase his adrenal glands. She can modify him to give him strength, and also if he's wounded, hurt, if he's cut in half, head comes off, whatever, he just continues to operate because he's a zombie basically.
Right.
And so in this situation, the Far Vampire has got a colorful origin, but no real match for Gideon. Gideon shoots him. He's full of gas. He explodes. And then it causes the toy factory to explode.
Yes.
And then toys are everywhere.
Christmas.
Yeah. And then Phoebe's like, it's a Christmas miracle. Like toys are raining from the sky from all the little children.
Yeah.
And then the toys like start crushing people. And it's like a newspaper. It's like Christmas Nightmare claims 96 or something like that. That's what this book's all about.
Yeah.
What did you think about the meta elements of it? Like, I know that you're not super familiar with the world of 90s comics, but did you like some of the commentary that you detected? Not hearing much.
I don't know.
Thank you, Spickard.
I enjoyed that he says wonderful a lot. Like
sarcastically. Yeah.
I enjoyed that. I mean, he just kind of comments on people in general.
Yeah, but did you like the fact, for instance, that there are two detectives trying to track him down?
Oh, yes.
And then halfway through the book, there's a printed letter from the editor of Blackball, Dave Elliott, who's like, hey, Keith, love it. Love the script so far. You got these two hard-boiled detective characters. I feel like it's kind of been done to death. We want to increase diversity around here, so can you make a little change? And when we come back, those two characters are women. No explanation. They're just they're the same characters, but now they're just girls.
Very masculine.
Yeah, well,
women.
yeah. And so Giffen was ahead of even the drive, I think, to increase diversity in comics. I don't know if he is commenting negatively or if it's just a fun thing. I'm going to take it as a fun thing.
I'm going to take
and
it
it's kind of sad because
too.
They both die in the process of doing their jobs, and then later on, again, what's the cosmology here? But we see them in heaven, and they're like, "Oh, it sucks that we died. I thought we had a nice little team book going on. Like we could have been our own thing," which I think is a reference to Spawn, in which there were two characters that were hard-boiled detectives named Sam and Twitch. And they got a spin-off that became almost as popular as Spawn.
Huh.
Okay, so I guess it doesn't really... Yeah, the commentary doesn't work if you don't know the text.
No.
It doesn't matter. At least you didn't read the one other comic that they were in, or that Trencher was in, which was like a something. Good stuff. Can't remember what it was called, but he fights Blitz the Manic Mandrill, which was somebody else's character. And so, yeah, Blackball was going to be a place for creators to show their own characters off. And this was right near the end of the Spectator boom, I think, when comics started to sort of pull up tough. And so, or maybe it was just badly managed. Anyway, try to find information about Blackball comics. You cannot.
Oh, my goodness.
It does not exist online.
No.
And as far as this comic goes, we had to read this in floppies. because it doesn't exist digitally, I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
And as far as those floppies go, those could be the last issues of Trencher. I've never seen it in a comic shop or anything. So
No.
if rareness makes something valuable, these are really valuable.
Yeah.
Gotta hold on to them.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. So anyway, this didn't really go forward. Keith Giffen did. He, of course, is very successful, and everybody knows who he is. But yeah, would you recommend Trencher to somebody?
Yeah, I would.
Saguaro Man,
It's
the
entertaining.
defender of San Antonio, Cactus Man.
It's entertaining.
When you can remember what happened,
Yeah.
it entertains you.
Yes.
Pay attention, I'm making fun of you.
It's confusing at points.
Yeah, okay, sure. Sometimes it's confusing because of the density of the art.
Yes.
That's the one thing I would say is that Keith Giffen, I feel like he's a pretty good storyteller, but he goes nuts on the art, and he cheats a little, and I think it works for the idiom of the book, but like he'll have little helpful, because even the border will be, twisted pipes, and like he's got this whole sort of illuminated sort of crazy border, but there'll be like a sign sticking out of it, go, hey, go over this way, or like,
right.
Here's a huge picture, Gideon is right here. Like if you didn't see what this two little lines was supposed to be, because there's a huge tidal wave or something like that. So yeah, it's a little hard to follow sometimes, but I think every panel, especially the big ones, stand on their own. They're like kind of pin-up-y and kind of cool looking, but in a different kind of style than the normal crazy cross-hatched, Michael Turner type thing that you'd see from comics of this time.
Yeah. I would agree.
I'd absolutely, if you could get your hands on this, you should definitely check it out. And they asked, I think only just a couple years ago, they asked Keith Giffen, any more Trencher ever? And he's like, no, I'm done.
Oh.
I got other stuff to do. Moved on from the character. Not going to come back to that. I would say, in a post-Deadpool world, and I did almost say Daredevil, in a post-Deadpool world, are you crazy?
I know.
You've got a character that you don't have to pay. All you have to do is pay Keith Giffen, who doesn't even want it. Somebody needs to get their hands on Trencher right now.
Yeah.
It's got a sweeping... who's Deadpool? Guy, somebody messes up his face, wants to kill him, and then jokes about his balls or whatever. There's a whole possibly epic sweeping storyline behind it. Doesn't have to be tied. In fact, he's literally not tied to any universe, because it's established in the miniseries that he can travel in between universes. Like there's a part where he goes to another universe and he meets Trencher Man. It's like this guy that he knows from The Office. And in his reality, trenching is like everybody loves him. He's got a Trencher mobile. He's got health insurance and all this stuff. And yet Gideon is stuck with the crapsack reality of like the Image universe that he has to trench in, where the cops are always after him. And basically his big escape trick is killing somebody, usually getting mortally wounded himself, then just playing dead, letting the coroners take him to the morgue, wait for his body to heal, and then just bust his way out of the morgue. So in the Image universe, there's probably like this, fictitious morgue robbing killer or something like that. Somebody stealing bodies from a morgue, but it's just him escaping from a morgue over and over again.
Right.
So we've already established that he can jump between universes, so you can do whatever you want with him. Yes, this is it. Listen up. New Line Cinema. Somebody who needs...
Lots of potential.
Yeah. Somebody who needs a superhero. Talk to Keith Giffen. Get Trencher. You can have a bloody, meta-commenting character to do whatever you want with.
Yes.
That's what I say.
Yes.
So get with that. And you, audience, get with this if you can. Good luck. Issues 1 through 4 of Trencher from Image Comics. The Christmas Bites Trencher Holiday Blowout, which is introduced by him sitting by a fire in a very meta sort of turn. And also the Shadowhawk issues and the, still don't remember what it's called, but the Blitz the Mandrill issue where he fights Trencher. And they basically rip each other's heads off and end up just spitting at each other with their heads. That's the finale of that one. So if you like that, and Keith Giffen, Trencher, check it out. Well, that's it. That is our Christmas show. We're not done just yet. We got one more show coming up next week of 2017, and then it's on to the next year. But I do want to say to you and yours a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays and a Happy Kwanzaa and everything else that everybody celebrates. Hope you're celebrating it in the style which you wish and that you enjoy. And get down with your bad self. Have some Christmas cookies, because I can't. Where them cookies at? But anyway, while you're doing that, if you can spare a thought for the children of the world who want you to click on Facebook and Twitter and follow Just Enough Trope on those platforms. And also move on over to our Apple Podcasts page and subscribe to the show there. You can subscribe to us also on Google Play and on Stitcher and everywhere that you can get podcasts. We're there. Find us. Subscribe to us. Best way to get the show. It's like a present. Every week comes to you and it unwraps itself. And also leave us a review if you would. We love hearing from the fans. It's like a present for us. It comes right back. We find out how you think we're doing and get suggestions from you about where to go in the future and give us a rating, the most important part. That's like a present to iTunes.
Yes.
They open it and go, ooh, these guys got 5 stars. Let's give it back. Let's pay it back. Let's pay it forward.
Yes.
Let's not do that. Let's remake Pay It Forward without Kevin Spacey.
Let's do that.
What do you think? Let's try that.
Yes.
So anyway, while you're there, give us a rating. Give us 5 incredibly rare issues. That's issues 1 through 4 of Trencher and the Trencher Holiday Bites Blowout Christmas special. But you're probably not going to be able to find those. So give us 5 stars instead. We'd appreciate it. That's it. Like I said, we'll be back next week to talk about the new year, the best and worst of 2017. And as we forgot to mention in our comic book club segment, we're going to read a very special comic book that is about New Year's. It's about the end of the year and the end of the world.
Oh.
I'm good at this.
You are good at this.
I know that I think I'm good at this. I know that much. It's called I Die at Midnight. It's by Kyle Baker. It's from Vertigo Comics. It is a one-shot, like a 64-page one-shot, about Y2K.
Oh.
And about a man, like most Kyle Baker comics, he is a black guy, I think. He's a happily married family man, black guy, who tends to write about white loners. Who have women problems. I don't know why. He's like a Don Rickles trapped in a black man's body. He seems to like to write about stuff like that. So maybe him and Mrs. Maisel should compare notes. But anyway, we're reading I Die at Midnight from Vertigo Comics. So join us for that and on New Year's celebration of the best and the worst of 2017 next time on the show. Until then, we're signing off. I'm your host, Caliban.
I'm your co-host, Mikan Hana.
Keep the geek fires burning.